so today I wanted to talk a bit about complex PTSD. What is it and who is likely to have it? Likely? Maybe likely. So people who experience multiple or ongoing trauma, right? So most likely adult children of alcoholic or alcoholics. So in my case, this was an alcoholic, aggressive father. So I was going through ongoing traumas, neglect or sexual abuse. So if you experienced one of those, you could have developed something what we are calling complex PTSD. So I'm going to add a list on one of the sites about complex PTSD because for very, very long time I was calling it trauma because trauma was very kind of natural for me to call it, right? Because I didn't have the name for it. And when someone actually put a list in front of me with common symptoms, I actually started ticking it and I was like, oh my God, you know, I have complex PTSD, this is how it is called. So that's why I'm going to add the list with common symptoms on the side. So what are the common symptoms? So let's start with something what is very close to me, sustaining loving relationships. Very often people like us are finding it challenging to sustain loving relationships. Well, first of all, because we've learned something else at home, right? We don't know what loving relationships are to start with. And very often, because it is kind of not familiar to us, on subconscious level we tend to drift away from them, or we kind of self-sabotage our way out of them. And then in exchange, even though we are longing for those loving relationships, we are actually drawn into these unhealthy relationships because they are more known to us, right? More familiar to us, even though we are, of course, those relationships keep triggering us, keep turning in us in those feelings of neediness, right? Because all those feelings which were not given to us in the past are being triggered all the time in this kind of relationships. Then anger is also quite big one for me, because for a very, very long time I was calling it a bubbling volcano, which the feeling was going up in my chest, up, and then exploding. And when I was exploding, then I wasn't able to control it. So in those stressful situations, I would very often be completely unpleasant and rude to people as well. And because, of course, next point is emotions. We are not able to manage all sorts of emotions, right? So a little bit of stress and we are freaking out, and we are not able to manage them. They are kind of inside of us. And I'm sorry for the sounds. My window is open, so you can hear the sounds from the road. Anyway, so all those emotions. So on one hand, we are feeling all those emotions, but on the other hand, we are having all those feelings of numbness. Very often we are feeling internally not happy, or even, I would say, empty. All of those feelings are just sitting inside of us. And then, of course, we are also feeling unworthy, unwanted, somehow different from the rest of the world. We also going to have those feelings of dissociation. So what it is? So dissociation is when certain events are happening and you are feeling like you are actually standing next to yourself and watching yourself doing those things. So I was experiencing those feelings where I was having this incidents of anger. So explosion would come and I would be standing and watching next to me, because I wasn't able to do anything about this. I wasn't able to stop it. I didn't want it to happen, but I couldn't stop it. And then of course after the whole event happened, I would kind of drift back into my body, feeling guilty, apologizing, but of course the damage was done. Sounds familiar. And then of course our patterns of those thoughts, right? Intrusive thoughts. In my case, this would be thoughts from the past, especially I was calling it blame game. So blaming all the time my parents for what happened, why my life looks the way it looks now, why things are not working out for me. This would go through my head, but it could be also the thoughts going back to some events that happened in the past. Also nightmares, so during the night, having this, of course, flashbacks as well, so this triggering events that would put us back to those events from the past. And the last one is suicidal thoughts. This was something what I experienced myself, not that many and that often, but when I was scanning actually through the list of common symptoms, suicide is on the list as well. So some of us might be having them on a regular basis, right? So these are the common symptoms. For very, very long time, I didn't know this was a complex PTSD, so that's why this list on the side, so you can see and you can tick it. You know, when I for the first time, when I actually it clicked in my head, I felt like this is a life sentence. There is no cure for it, but there are ways to heal it. There are ways to start feeling better. They require time. They require for us to be consistent with what we are doing. Blah, blah. So we need to be consistent. We need to keep doing it. And in the whole my self-development journey to this point, I also became a hypnotherapist because I've learned that we can rewire our brains. It is possible, and we can start feeling much better in the whole process of it. And hypnotherapy is one of the tools which I learned to do it because I know it's helping. I was able to get into all those limiting beliefs that were were in my subconscious mind for all those years. And once you start having those realizations, why, from when, what happened, and why you are feeling this way, then it's easier to kind of have this understanding and start changing things. Also doing those daily, what I'm calling daily healing rituals, doing those daily healing rituals, which I'm going to talk about them in my next recording. It's very important to find time for those, because in the whole process, what we need to do, of course, there were changes that happened in our brain, right? Those neural pathways were created the way they were created because of those events. We developed this limiting self-beliefs because of what happened, and now we need to relearn everything from the beginning. As they say all over internet, empty the cup. Let's empty the cup. And for those who are starting this journey, just to let you know, I was there a couple of years ago, and it may feel like there is no way to change it, but believe me, there is way to change it. And if you are someone who is much forward with your self-development journey, with healing of complex PTSD, please comment below. This will give us, all of us, hope that we can together start moving forward. We can learn, we can move forward, and we can start feeling better. I am the walking proof. Of course, it is work in progress still, but I've learned how to be happy. I've learned how to get rid of this internal neediness and longing for love. So I am feeling much better today. In the process I became the hypnotherapist, and now I'm helping others here. So if you have any stories to share, please do it, for all of us to learn and for all of us to start moving forward. And someone recently told me, stop giving away your power. Stop giving your power away to someone who did that to you. You know, we all went through so much, but it's time to take your power back, and it's time to start changing the things. It's time. It's enough. We went through a lot with our parents. We went through a lot through, you know, all those feelings sitting inside and bothering us and making our lives difficult. And now, since you are watching this recording, you know, it's time to change it. And I will be here to give you all sorts of tips and advice, and people who will be commenting here. I'm hoping that, you know, through all those recordings, comments, you will be able to start moving forward, because we can. All right. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.